My bad. We should have.
Be more secure because the schools will be on here.
We are at my brother-in-law's new house. We're not gonna case the joint.
Yeah.
There he is. Congratulations, Brian.
How you doing? Wait. Here we go. All right.
Oh Lord. How about this? Do that like that.
Yeah.
All right. So we are actually not in our usual studio place. And Kendra's trying to get everything set up on her end.
Oh, wait.
So this will be actually pretty quick. And I think I've never done this on here, you know.
I think I might take that door. No, then I gotta.
Don't do it right now. Don't
No.
do it right now.
Yeah, I have to do all electricity.
What are you trying to do?
Because I don't want to have the doorbell and then this, doorbell and this.
Yes.
Do you have
Yes.
Well, what you do is you take the doorbell off, which is pretty easy.
No, I can't. Well, you have to do electricity and all this and stuff because it's connected to the electrical box.
You can have both.
Yeah.
You can have
Yeah,
both.
you can
It's
have both.
okay. Keep talking, Jason.
All right. I'm sorry. Well, we're pretty much alone right now, but we are talking about owning property today. Brian just closed on his new home, and this is what it looks like when you try to do something that you haven't done before. You watch YouTube videos.
Yeah. All right. Which schools would I use for this? This school I'm using C. This is C. All right. I'm using
And
C.
where?
Got it. I'm using C. This is it. I'm using C.
Now, this is totally weird.
I'm using C. Here we go. C. It seems like it's more stable. You know, the stability of it being.
All right, give me Jason. Let me talk. Are you doing stuff?
In the
Otherwise, it's gonna have lots of
So it's
dead space on YouTube. Hi, everybody. Not apologizing for being dope. Listen, part of today's content is really around how to build your wealth, how to change the trajectory of your life. And so today we are on location in Atlanta because we're celebrating my brother's closing of his house. In fact, this is his second property, right? So he had a taste of it, purchasing a condo, really enjoyed it, sold it, and now he has a single family home. And why is that important? First of all, Black History Month, talking about collective Black wealth, and it starts with land ownership and really talking about how we have a different relationship with land. And so I think it's critically important for us to really think about that, especially during this time when we have lots of our history that have been erased, and we are having history being erased now. And so being cognizant of the fact that we really need to go back into our roots and think about what it is that gave us wealth in the first place, and how this country was built on the Black backs of enslaved people. So in order to take back that power, we also have to have a relationship with land, and not only just own the land, because that also is a dominant ideology, but really being able to acquire wealth and having a good relationship with land. And so that means dismantling the trauma that comes with land ownership. That means really talking about how we can use land in order to teach our children how to have a healthy respect for it, how to use it for sustainability around environmental protection, around food sustainability. And then lastly, how we can use this opportunity to pass down wealth to our children and continue that in order to break the cycle of poverty, break the cycle of trauma. So that's what we're here. Like, this is a really important moment for us because we're here as a family. There's Jason and my brother, Bryant, new homeowner. Check it out. Check it out. And my mother.
Who is debt free, no mortgage, no car note.
And there you go, y'all. Debt free, right? And so even just to hear those words, yeah, Brian's drowning in debt, but you can get to the point where you can be debt free, right? So you're not drowning in debt, you're actually contributing to your own investment. And at some point,
In 45 years, I'll be out of debt. In 45 years, I'll be out of debt. Now, that's not true.
that is not true.
I'm going to make it a priority to pay down this mortgage quicker.
That's
How
right.
do you do that?
By working a lot of overtime and sacrificing and saving money.
Make one extra payment per year.
That is true. Yes, one.
Yes. And any extra money that I make for whatever reason, tax return, I spend less amount on groceries a month. All that extra money will go towards the back end to the principal. And before you know it, just like you rack up charges on a credit card and say, well, I started out with zero balance. Now I'm at $26,000 and it's only been 2 years. The same can happen if you just save that money and put it towards your principal.
Well, there you go, y'all. So that's what we want to see is being, again, thinking about how not only the relationship with land, but our relationship with money and what that looks like, how to reinvest. For those who didn't know, if you take a look at the dollar within certain communities and how much that dollar is recycled in the community, Black communities have a very disproportionate amount of reinvestment in their own community. The dollar only circles less than once in the Black community. When you look at other communities, particularly those that are non-Black and particularly white communities, the dollar is invested within the neighborhoods and communities 7 to 10 times over, meaning those communities or those groups of individuals are purchasing in their own stores, they're purchasing their own lands, they're purchasing their own goods and services. And meanwhile, we are going outside of our communities. Now, we understand there's tons of conditions that lead to that disproportionality. But what if we change that trajectory? What if we could reimagine places like a Black Wall Street in Tulsa, like a Rosewood, like the new Freedom community here in Georgia? So the possibility is there. It's really a matter of sacrifice. Not sacrifice. That's not the right word. Commitment. Be willing to make a change. Be willing to reinvest in our own neighborhood. So I'm so happy for my brother because he has purchased land in a Black community. He is reinvesting in the community. And we never know. This could be a start. He could be spearheading something he has no idea that he's starting. So that's part of the conversation today. Would love to hear your comments, your questions related to that. Maybe not today because we still want to celebrate. Brian's setting up all the security and everything ready to go here. Okay, security ready to go. But really just thinking again about how we can change the message, change the trajectory of how we have a relationship with land. So let me skip a little bit and talk just a bit about the month of February, which is, for me, Black history is every day, right? I'm a walking testament of survival, persistence, legacy. And while we take time with other Americans and actually people across the world to think about our history, just want to give a little bit of lesson here about how Black history even begun. And that was Carter G. Woodson, who started Negro Week in 1926, 1927. And part of it was in response to the education systems erasing the history of Black people in this country. Quite an interesting concept considering what's happening today in states like Florida and Texas and Arizona, where there are legislations or laws being enacted to erase the history of Black people or of Indigenous people in this country. And so Negro Week was started in 1927. And then by 1972, that's not true. I think I have the dates wrong. I think earlier than that, it was created into a month that we see now. Now, even with the idea of Black History Month, many politicians at that time also pushed for us not to even have that recognized. And as you know, it wasn't even until the late 1990s that finally the last state accepted the fact that Martin Luther King Jr. holiday could be celebrated as a national holiday. So just knowing your history and understanding how important it is to know that not just celebrating the legacy of Black people, but really understanding how and why it's important to have representation. Because once you lose that, it's hard to get it back. And we have generations of children who are losing their heritage and don't have something to hold on to except for the negative stereotypes and narratives that are out there around them. So I would like you to make a commitment to learn something new this month. Take the opportunity to have some education. If you can, go to a local museum, visit a Black-owned bookstore that can provide you with information and resources about history and legacy of Black people in this country and the contributions. Please attend some plays or short monologues that are happening across the country to be educated. It's your responsibility to make sure that this history is not erased. It's part of the legacy of this country, but also it's your work that you have to do. I'm not going to spend time on here giving you a history lesson. I'm still learning myself because of the books that denied me the opportunity to learn more about myself. So 2 things today about community and wealth within the Black community, but also about learning about our history during this month. So educate yourself, do some digging. You have information in the palm of your hand, an opportunity for you to be in the know. Okay, I'm going to pass it on to Jason, who's going to give you some words of wisdom. He was surprised because I was talking for a long time, trying to fill space.
Fill space.
Yeah.
So, oh, actually, we have some other folks. We don't even have the access to the chat. Actually, so as Kendra was talking about property and everything, and actually I'm walking kind of in here, on the fly, in the finding us sense, Kendra and I actually bought our first place in 1996, was it? Gee whiz, when we got married. I keep wanting to say 94. But anyway, as we've come up, we believed in home ownership, and we tell people all the time, get yourself, a house or own some land, own some property. And, the latest knowledge is to put your property in a trust. So, these are, it's open. It should be. So as you can see, we're kind of doing 3 or 4 things at once. So everybody should try to do that, own some property for yourself. In any event, Kendra and I where are we going to be in a couple of weeks? We're actually going to be out in LA, actually in Anaheim. So our next show next week is going to be out of Anaheim. And yeah, we'll have a nice couple of topics to discuss. And yeah, it's going to be great. Who's on? If you're on, post some questions. So we are actually going to make this a short show. We're going to make this a short show, and because we are doing multiple things at once, and we may have to duck out to go do something. So anyway, stay tuned for our next topics, because we are going to be at different places. And we just got too many things going on right now. So thank you very much for coming out and for joining us today. But we are going to see y'all next week. Thank y'all so much.